And Janet, come on up. You're the next contestant.
Yay!
Okay, Janet, what's the funniest thing somebody has ever tried to write off?
Oh.
Yeah, you've seen.
I had an artist who got married and tried to write off the mural he had painted as an advertising expense because he handed out his business cards at his wedding. 10 points for creativity, it was a no.
Look forward to hearing more about your business. Thanks.
So, hi, I'm Janet with Duncan and Associates. I started my company in earnest in 2011. I worked for one of the big firms here in town, and due to philosophical differences, we parted ways. They wanted me to start at the bottom and work my way up. I have a little bit of an ego. I felt that I should start at the top and go from there. So the deal that I made with my husband was if I could bring home a paycheck and contribute, I didn't ever have to go back to corporate America. So I pounded the pavement, and here I am 5 years later, and wow, what a ride. I started out working from my house, and by my second year, I had doubled my business, and I had to move out of the house. I'm pretty sure the neighbors thought I was a drug dealer. 15-minute appointments with tax clients coming and picking up, it just way too much. I moved to a location downtown. About that point, I changed my company name to Duncan and Associates. I originally started out with Janet Duncan Inc., which there's no creativity there. There's not a lot with Duncan and Associates either, but I like it better. Moved into a location downtown. 6 months into it, I outgrew it. So now I'm getting ready to move again. I'm moving into a suite down on the south end of town, which will put me closer to home. And it's 3 times what I need. So I should have at least 9 months. 9 months is what I'm shooting for. So many thanks to all of my clients that have taken what I thought was going to be a work it from home gig that I do part-time and raise kids to this amazing company that I've managed to build. I'm family owned. When clients call, sometimes they get to talk to my 10 and 12-year-old. I feel that because my company and what I do contributes to the house and allows me to be available to them, that they can learn to empty trash cans and answer phones. So sometimes you'll hear the 10-year-old get on the phone. Hello, this is Hannah. No, I don't know, I gotta find my mom. And sometimes they forget to give me messages. It's part of being a family-owned business. Up until recently, my husband handled all of my IT equipment and networking and things like that. About 6 months ago, after I called him in a panic and made him leave work because my stuff wasn't working, he was like, you've outgrown what I can do for you, and it's time to find somebody else. And he gladly turned over all of my networking and IT issues to Rodney, which I don't have issues or problems anymore. So it was a good move, but it was a growing pain to make that transition away from my husband. So now he gets to file. So one of the things that makes me different is obviously I'm not your standard accountant. I don't walk around in a suit. I've spent a lot of years crafting my trade and my education. I don't need to hide behind a suit. When you come to see me for an appointment, this is usually how I'm dressed. Depending upon the day and what time of day it is, I may still be in my gym clothes just because I needed to get you in and make sure you were taken care of. I've recently gotten tested and passed for my enrolled agents exam. It's different from a CPA. So before the IRS and most taxing agencies, I have all the rights and privileges of a CPA. You need a compilation or a business valuation, that's when you need a CPA. But most business owners don't actually need a CPA. They need somebody who can prepare financials and can get them to their taxes and save them money. I can do all of those things. So I figured, why would I sit for a CPA exam? One of my mentors, who also happened to be a CPA, decided, he and I were speaking, and I said, well, you know, which way do I go? And he was like, if I had it to do over again, I wouldn't be a CPA. Get your EA, you make more money than an EA, so get an, or a CPA, so go get an EA and be done. Grow your business, do what you're good at. So that's what I did, and this is where I'm at now. Obviously, I'm a little bit of an extrovert, so I love to sit down and talk with my clients. I love the relationship that I build with my clients and the dialogue that I get to have all year long, because it makes me a better accountant for you. Recently, I had a client, she is in a same-sex relationship, and for years, you know, because of DOMA, they weren't able to get legally married. Well, they were over at my house for dinner, and after Obama turned over DOMA, they got married in their backyard. So we're sitting around talking, they were talking about how great the ceremony was, and had I not been listening and had I not had that relationship, I would have missed it on their taxes, because up until DOMA was overturned, they were filing separately. And then, so in the middle of dinner, I was like, whoa, what did you just say to me? Well, we got married. Oh, there went your refund. Welcome to the marriage penalty. So that's what makes me a great accountant, is those relationships. It's how I listen. You're not a file. You're not a number to me. It's how are the kids? How are the babies? Meet my daughter and my son, and my husband floats around. I am a family-owned business. So now that tax season is coming, the things that I always tell people who are getting ready to come in is be nice. We are under an enormous amount of stress. About March 15th, I have no filter. I'm direct. I'm like, hey, we got to get this done. I need you to get out because I've got somebody else coming in. So when you come to see me, I like almond M&Ms. Especially at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm working. Try to be organized. I mentioned in one of my 60 seconds a couple months ago about scanning receipts and not bringing me your stuff in an oatmeal box. If you bring me your things and you're completely disorganized, I am not at 150% for you, because I have to take the time, I have to go through things, and if you wait till April 2nd, I'm trying to do it fast to make sure that you meet the filing deadline. Take a few minutes, be a little bit more organized, stop by Walgreens, almond M&Ms. So a good referral for me would be business owners who are starting up. Those are my favorite. I love watching business owners go from an idea to where I am here, 6 years later. Business owners, once they get to about 25 employees, you need somebody who's more full-time dedicated. I can't be that person because I like to be everywhere, and so I'm no longer a good fit. But I will help with the transition from moving from my shop to a much larger firm, because at that point that's what you need, or somebody dedicated in-house. I want to talk to bookkeepers who don't prepare taxes, who are working with other businesses and they've got a few clients, but that's all that they do. They need somebody who can prepare those taxes and who can pick up the financials and get it into a tax return. People who are behind on tax filing. I just had a gentleman stop into my office. He's 10 years behind. The IRS is now offering to create a tax return for him, and he owes $92,000 based on their current estimates. And then, of course, people who are behind on paying the IRS are also good referrals for me. It's intimidating when you get a notice from the IRS. The minute you see that label, you're done. You're like, oh, crap. I want to talk to those people. There's no reason to be intimidated. If you have a strong tax preparer and accountant behind you, the IRS is a piece of cake. I like to fight with the IRS. Bring it on. So that is Duncan and Associates in a nutshell. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak with all of you.